Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Erin Marley, and I'm a veterinarian and scientific communication specialist with Royal Canin, Canada. In this presentation, we're going to be talking about dogs and their skin. And when does a skin sensitivity become a skin problem? And what can we do with nutrition to help support healthy skin in our pets? Now have a look at these 4 dogs. What do they have in common? Well, they are 4 quite popular breeds. We have a German Shepherd, a West Highland White Terrier, a Labrador Retriever, and a Golden Retriever. But they have something else in common as well. And we know that all dogs can get irritated or sensitive skin, but a recent review of the literature showed that these 4 breeds in particular are overrepresented when it comes to complaints of skin problems. Cats can also get irritated skin and skin problems, but there's no single breed or sex that stands out over the others. Now today we're going to meet and talk about one Golden Retriever who could benefit from some extra support for his skin. Meet Moose. Moose is a 12-year-old outdoorsy dog who has been taking daily walks with his favorite human, Joanne, for the past decade. Joanne walks him every single day, rain, shine, or snow. In the summer, Moose especially enjoys taking a dip in the river on his way home from his walks to help cool down. Now, sometimes after his walks in the summer, Moose comes home and rubs himself all over the grass and then licks his legs. Is he doing this because he's trying to dry himself off? Is he actually itchy? Is this normal behavior? All dogs itch, scratch, and lick, right? Well, yes, like us, all pets need to occasionally scratch and itch, and most don't like being wet. But if they are rubbing and itching enough that you really notice that it's happening and that they're doing it, it may be a sign of a skin sensitivity. So something to keep an eye out for would be this itching, scratching, excessive licking. Sometimes it presents as scooting on the floor, rubbing their whole body, or sometimes it's just a persistent doggy smell. And it's important to notice how often or what times of year that we notice the skin starting to bother the pet. Is it every hour, once a day? Is it once a week or month? Or is it only certain times of the year? So it's important to take notice of how often the pet is scratching, licking, or rubbing. Just like ourselves, a little bit of itching and scratching can be normal, but certainly if it becomes very frequent or if the skin is starting to look red or flaky, it may be more than what's normal. Unless the dog is continually scratching himself, dry skin on dogs is generally not a serious health issue and can be easily treated. Now, in general, the skin should be pink and free of crusting, scaling, excessive itching, black or white spots, or hot and inflamed areas. It should be smooth and the coat should be in good condition. The hair coat itself should be lovely and thick with no broken hairs or bald patches, and certainly no pesky parasites like fleas. Most dogs shed a small amount year-round, but they'll generally have a larger molting in late spring and again in the fall. But if you notice any bleeding, pus, or bald spots, or any thickened or discolored skin, or if they itch and scratch so much that they actually stop what they're doing to scratch, or it is waking them up at night and they want to scratch, then you'd better make sure the veterinarian sees the pet. Those could be signs of a more serious issue related to the skin. So why do we care how a dog's skin looks or feels? Well, because the skin is the largest organ in the body, and it actually has some very important functions. Among other things, the skin protects the dog from the outside world. So this is against allergens, bacteria, viruses in the environment. Skin helps keep the dog hydrated and protect their internal organs. The skin essentially is making the dog watertight and prevents the loss of water and electrolytes. Skin is also how people and animals interact with the outside world. It's sensitive to touch, pressure, pain, itching, heat, and cold. And the skin stores some nutrients that we eat for use later on. For example, again, electrolytes and water, but vitamins, fats, carbohydrates, and proteins, among other things. And lastly, it's the skin that grows that beautiful hair coat that we all love to pet, and also the nails that maybe we don't love so much when they're digging up our flower beds. But regardless, we love our dogs, and we want to make sure that the nails are also healthy and not easily broken. And we know that skin issues are extremely common. It's actually the second most common reason why people bring their dog to the veterinarian, with 21.5% of all veterinary visits being related to skin. So it is a very important issue to consider in our pets. Now this is Moose in the summer. And again, this might be a sign that he has sensitive skin. While a small amount of rolling and rubbing is normal, sometimes they just love the feel of that when they first go outside. Doing it multiple times a day is definitely not normal. So this frequent rolling and rubbing is actually a sign that the dog is itchy. Now, what are some other things that we can look for? Well, this is an example of a hair coat that looks dull and lacks shininess. The hair itself looks uneven, which could be a sign that the hair shaft is brittle and breaking off. And there's also some flaky dandruff visible on the hair coat. A normal healthy coat should have a glossy appearance, which is free of dandruff and is nice to touch. Now here are some signs that would require a veterinary visit, that signs of something more serious is going on. So certainly if there's any evidence of pus or bleeding, but areas of thickened skin or hair loss, or if there's evidence of hair discoloration, which can happen when a dog licks an area excessively. We can see that particularly in dogs that have lighter coats, like our West Highland White Terriers or Golden Retrievers. These are all reasons to see a veterinarian prior to attempting any home treatment. Hot spots like the one we see here can actually spread to cover significant amounts of the body in less than 24 hours. And this is an infection that needs to be treated medically. This can be very uncomfortable for the dog. Bald patches like the ones you see around the eyes in the picture on the far side there could also mean the pet has parasites or even a deep skin infection that will need to be managed. That said, if your pet's skin doesn't look as severe as what we just saw, there are some simple things that might be irritating the skin, which could just be causing some mild itching and affecting the skin's optimal health, and we can help in those cases. Frequent swimming, for example, or bathing can wash away the beneficial oils in the skin and hair coat, thus decreasing the efficacy of that waterproofing that we were talking about of the skin. This lack of the sebum and oils leaves the skin actually vulnerable to pollens that would not normally be able to cross over the skin barrier. Infections can also cause the skin to itch, and that active scratching just further damages the skin and causes inflammation, just worsening the issue and worsening discomfort. In some cases, dogs may be sensitive to certain foods they eat, and in response, the skin becomes itchy and red. Another example that could lead to unhealthy skin is in the winter, when the heat is on more often and at a higher temperature. A dog's skin can change or dry out with that situation, and that also will help make them a little bit more itchy. It's the same as in people during the winter months. Now, while the dog might enjoy a bath with a special shampoo that you can buy to help restore moisture, as we just mentioned, sometimes the treatment can further exacerbate the problem. In these cases, the underlying source of the problem is probably the dry environment, and a humidifier in the home may actually help keep the dog more comfortable. But ideally, we could also support the skin by feeding the pet more of the nutrients that the skin needs to stay healthy in the first place. And we're going to go through a few of those nutrients. Now, the skin is truly a reflection of what your dog eats and the quality and amount of the nutrients in their daily diet. Not all diets provide all of the important nutrients that the dog's skin needs to keep their skin at its most supple, shiny, watertight, and comfortable. In fact, the hair is made up of 90% protein. And it's been estimated that 30% of the dog's total protein intake is used to support the protein requirements for skin cell renewal and hair growth. So having a high quality, highly digestible protein is therefore needed to be provided in the diet. Now, in addition to providing adequate levels of highly digestible protein, there are other key nutrients that are needed to optimally support healthy skin. These are things like supplemental essential omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, which help keep the skin nice and supple and moist. The omega-6 fatty acid, linoleic acid, has also been shown to decrease transepidermal water loss, which is an indicator of the skin's ability to waterproof the body. Together, omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA, along with the omega-6 fatty acid, GLA, have been demonstrated to be beneficial in the management of various itchy conditions. And an extra supply of these unsaturated omega-6 fatty acids, especially linoleic acid and GLA, can help improve the brilliance and shine of the coat. Borage oil, for example, is a very concentrated source of both linoleic acid and GLA. Finally, additional B vitamins, and these would have names like pantothenic acids, which is vitamin B5, niacin, which is vitamin B3, and choline, which is a vitamin-like compound, as well as the amino acid histidine, together help with the overall skin barrier function. These B vitamins, in general, play a key role in the metabolism of virtually every cell in the body. So some of these nutrients have more than a mouthful of a name, but are providing some real benefits to the skin and coat. There's some other nutrients that can help the skin as well, and these would be antioxidant complexes. The presence of adequate quantities of copper is another example, and imperatives to support good coat color, especially in dogs that have darker or black coats. Vitamin H, biotin, is essential for the integrity of the skin and hair coat as well, and deficiency in this vitamin can lead to hair loss or dry and brittle nails. And some pets, like we talked about, might respond more positively to limited protein sources. And sometimes that's as simple as having a single protein source like chicken and a single carbohydrate source like rice. So let's go back to Moose. With all that summer swimming that Moose does, and for when he comes up from his winter walks to lay by the fireside to warm up, a diet that's formulated to support the skin is the ideal choice for him. If he still seems itchy after 2 months of use, then he'd be better to see a veterinarian in case he needs something more. At Royal Canin, we believe that pets make a better world, and we want to be your partners in making a better world for them. Your veterinarian is an excellent resource if you think that your pet or a client's pet has a skin disease. And if you have any questions about a feeding guide or a specific product, or simply need help choosing a diet for a healthy pet, you can reach out to our Royal Canin Consumer Care team. They're happy and there to help. I hope you found this training useful and helpful, and we hope that your family is safe and that your pets are healthy and happy. We'd very much appreciate your feedback for this training. If you scan the QR code on this slide with your phone, you should go to a short survey that will provide us with some feedback to improve our training in the future. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you soon.